Everybody wants to be firefighter, race car driver, astronaut, president. Those are all typically pipe dreams, but my whole motivation was to make this one a reality. The driver development program basically came into play to basically be on par with any youth sport. I grew up racing at this racetrack, Silver City. Both my parents worked a lot, didn't see them a whole lot during the week. We didn't really do anything as a family. Then we came across this place, and it's something that interested my father because he was always into motorsports. And the next thing you knew, we had a car. Me and my sister shared it our first year, and we got more and more into it. And it's just the one thing that bonded my family. And then the friends that you make along the way, they become family too. And it's just a really unique sport because it's not one of those sports that you have a coach. You have mom and dad, and that's how it should be. I feel very strongly about that. Like, you see a lot of these teams now, they have hired help. To me, that defeats the purpose of youth motorsports and quarter midget racing. What really made this sport special to me was that it really made my family a family. You have to be stacked at the bottom. So the lowest competitive level, you need the most kids because those are the kids that are going to go on and feed into your upper levels and stay with the program for many years. COVID rolled around, and typically I work 40 to 60 hours in the gym, and then for the first time in 15 years, I had a lot of downtime. And I had been away from this sport for a long time, and I knew I wanted to revisit it when I had nieces and nephews, and I have twin nieces and nephews, and they were finally old enough to enter the sport. So it got me thinking, and I stopped by and I visited, and back in this place's heyday, we always had 150 plus cars. When I visited back in 2020, I think it was, they only had 26 sign-ins. So I told my sister, I'm like, we got to look into something else. Like, that place has really gone downhill. And it was really important to her that we came back here. She wanted the kids to race where we raced and have that experience. So it got me thinking and drawing parallels to my business. And it's like, we need to stack the bottom. We need a massive rookie class. How are we going to make it happen?
I started with him 4 years ago when he first started. My grandpa saw it in a Facebook post and sent it to my mom, and it kind of just spiraled from there.
So I started an alumni page on Facebook. I still have one of my cars. I have a 1998 Nervo that sat in a shed for years. So if I still have a car, other people must have cars. And within a week, we had over 700 members on that page. And I started asking, I started floating the idea, like knowing I wanted a really big novice class, a really big rookie class, to start pulling kids into the competitive classes and reviving this place. So I asked in that group, who still has old equipment? And explaining my idea. I want to give people the option to rent cars instead of buy them, because nobody really jumps at the idea of getting into this sport because the all-in cost is thousands, just to get out of the gate. So that first year, I made it no risk for anybody getting into the program. So you rent a car for $250, you get $150 back if you finish the season. I wasn't in it to make money. I wanted to rebuild the club. That first year, 2021, we had 36 rookies. I targeted older drivers, knowing that I could push them along faster because I wanted to revive the competitive classes. So those kids, as soon as they seemed competent and they could line up and run a decent line, I started moving them into senior Honda, heavy Honda, and then we had a lot of momentum.
get your daughter a race car, they said, and 5 race cars later, she's still racing. So it was the best thing Johnny could have done. I think it's a great program because if you have people come to Arrive and Drive and you tell them a car can cost them, $2,000 to $5,000, people don't know if they want to spend that money, right? Because they know their kids are going to like it. So with Johnny's program, it's a less expensive way to get your kid in a race car. And as a novice, I feel like there's more support there for, especially if you've never raced or never been in this kind of sport. And so there's like DDP workshops and stuff to help the novice families. And then, and then there's also like a large group of kids. So I do feel like it helps you progress.
Give these kids an opportunity to race as many cars as possible, fill the fields, and therefore maximize their potential. You're not going to maximize your potential racing against 3 cars every week. So the whole motive behind phase 2 was giving kids the opportunity to race more, because in the past, if you didn't have big bucks, you weren't running 3 or 4 cars. You were lucky to run 1. Now these kids could rent good equipment and run up to 4 or 5 cars, and that's what we have here. As far as preparation goes, I have my driver, Aubrey Wasco. She helps me a ton.
I run heavy Honda, heavy Animal, heavy 160, heavy World, and junior half. I spend every week at the shop with Johnny helping on all the cars, maintaining my cars every week. I've helped him put together most of them.
We do a seminar once a year where we teach the new families all the basics, and then when rookie school starts, we go through all the cars the best we can to get them race ready. Like I said, getting into the sport, I wasn't a confident kid, and we were at the 2021 Eastern Grands. At the time, it was the largest Grands in history at 780 cars. I was always that kid that would look at a lineup board and predetermine who was going to beat me. I'd be like, okay, he's going to beat me, he's going to beat me, he's going to beat me, and I might be able to beat her, But then at that Grands, it was like my sister's coming to life year. And I watched her get second in 2 divisions, push Cameron Dodson, who was an icon back in the day, around the track in Heavy B, and then just watch all my friends race the A mains, become national champions, celebrate with their families, and think like, God, I really want to do that. And I had to figure it out for myself and literally tell myself, they're all kids just like me. I'm gonna do that. Like, I gotta stop doubting myself, I gotta be stronger, I gotta believe that I can. And I just became relentless at that point. In the off season, not a day went by that I wasn't watching film. Races that I wasn't even in. And just like picking up on mistakes kids were making and just like obsessing over being successful. And I went on to win 5 Grands. Like, I have the most Grands wins out of anybody here, and this sport, it was my niche. It was my superpower. So I didn't really fit in at school. I didn't have a big peer group. I played sports, but I didn't gel with anybody at school. But here, like, I was a star. That's what people don't understand about this sport. You want the big guns like Joey Logano and Ryan Preece to really recognize how important youth motorsports is to kids like myself, Taylor. Like, it gives kids like us the opportunity to shine.
I like helping the little kids out and getting them their confidence up and getting them going. Some of them need help with their line occasionally, so I'll be over there and like trying to help them with that. I'll try and teach them how to work on their cars a little bit and just boost their confidence if they're down during the day.
Any other sport, you know, our older kids played hockey, and you can buy them the best equipment, the best skates, the best helmet, but you have no part in how well they play the game, right? But this sport requires the work of the handler and the child. So I feel like it bonds you as a family. You're traveling together, you're racing together, and you know, if by chance we get Peyton a dump truck out there, you know, she's got to figure out how to drive it, and then, you know, and so they work together, and it's really a team versus just, you know, putting your kids in something and saying, here you go. You know, you got kids cleaning tires and changing gears, and Peyton particularly, her dad's military, so when he was at drill, she'd call him and say, hey, the car's doing this, and she knew how to fix it and change springs and do this and do that. So it's always working together.
My ultimate goal for this program is to continue to build on what I've already started. You get kids into the sport that are very talented, but they don't have the means to continue beyond what's available to them here, what the program made available to them. So, I mean, my driver's aging out now. So she's really encouraging me to figure out the next step. I want to be able to support these kids, the ones that stay in the sport long enough and really hone their skills to continue. I want to be able to support them into that next step. And I've tried for years to get people on board with helping me make that possible, but that's the focus. That's the focus going forward. Motorsports at large really needs the base to be strong. They need to be supporting the base. The kids that are talented, that might not have the money. I feel like that's what's wrong with motorsports in general, is that it's all about this. It's not about the kids who have the talent, that have the work ethic and the drive. And that's what I'm really driven to combat and mitigate. So I want to continue adding tiers to this program to help support the kids to the top. That's the ultimate goal.